Hi, my name is Kim and welcome to Vlogmas Day 7. Thank you so much for joining me. There's going to be a little bit of reading and knitting content today. So for the month of December till Christmas, December 25th, I will be reading from the Canadian publishers Hingston and Olsen, a short story advent calendar. I'll be reading a short story a day. As well, I knit, and the Canadian company called Polka Creek is an Alberta company, and I will be unveiling a skein a day from their blanket advent calendar. So let's get to the unveiling. So let's see what short story I will be reading this morning. So number 7 is called Stigmata by Thomas King. So Canadian content. Thomas King is an Indigenous writer, and sadly I have not read any of his books, as I am apparently a bad Canadian. So Thomas King is an award-winning writer whose first novel, Medicine River, was made into a CBC television movie. Green Grass Running Water, his second novel, was shortlisted for the Governors General. And he has received a National Aboriginal Achievement Award and is a companion to the Order of Canada. He lives in Guelph, Ontario with his partner, Dr. Helen Hoy. And this was written in 2023, so it'll be very interesting to see if it's set in modern day and to see if he's tackling any modern day issues. And as for yarn, I will show you some footage of the blanket as I've knit it so far. It's Stephen West's blanket. It's from his hybrid knitting collection, and I still haven't figured out how exactly to pronounce and I think it's Swedish or Icelandic title to that. But this is a lovely golden color, and it's aptly named Spicy Mustard. So I can't wait to add this to the lovely complements of colors that this blanket is slowly becoming. So I am going to get knitting and reading, and I'll report back to you when I'm done. So stigmata was exactly what I was hoping for. So this is told in the third person. It's told in very short paragraphs, and often the dialogue is separated into those paragraphs. And it is set in Montreal in modern times. And there is an announcement that the Pope is coming to Canada. And this did happen this year, and it was very controversial, and it was very, very triggering for Indigenous people. Now, Bria is the main character, and she is dealing with her grandmother, and we find out that her great-grandmother has spent that she spent 10 years in a residential school. And a residential school, for those of you who don't know in Canada, was implemented by the Catholic Church, in which they essentially, with the government's help, ripped away Indigenous people from their family, Indigenous kids away from their family, and then converted them. But essentially, it was a form of torture and abuse, and was genocide. And it's something that all Canadians are struggling to deal with right now. So even Bria's name has a really complicated link to the history of the Catholic Church, as many of Indigenous people who lived in residential schools would have a complicated relationship. So she was originally, her parents wanted to name her Maria, which is the most Catholic name, one of the most Catholic names, but they compromised and named her Bria. Now, the great-grandmother had a rosary, as all of the girls in the residential schools were given, and this is now a family heirloom. And this rosary was blessed by the Pope. They are a Cree family, and on the crucifix on the rosary, there is an intricate set of scratches in terms of lines and tick marks, and this represented the number of times her great-grandmother had been raped by a priest. So very, very sad, heavy subject. Now, interesting enough, Bria being a young woman, and I think she's a teenager, wants nothing to do with the past. She wants to live in her modern time. She wants to go shopping with her friend and have ice cream, and doesn't want anything to do with her Cree history. Now, her grandmother wants to send her to the Pope to personally present him back the rosary that's a fairly heirloom, because this was a great-grandmother's wish, and she does not want to do this. And the grandmother keeps sticking the rosary into Bria's purse as a reminder, and Bria keeps tucking it away. So they watch interviews on TV, and Bria still refuses to go. The night that the Pope is actually in the city greeting the crowds, Bria's had enough, and she flings the rosary into the river. Now, I normally don't give away endings, and the spoiler is that even though Bria flings her rosary into the river and is gone forever, at the same time the Pope is attacked, and the attack takes place because a rosary is flung at him and it cuts his cheek. And this cheek causes a stigmata in that it doesn't stop flowing. It causes him illness for a long time. And it's later worked out that this crucifix is similar to the one that Bria threw away. And the sad part of the whole tale of the stigmata is that these rosaries are being thrown all the time at people now, and it's become a bit of a revolution. And you learn that this crime of raping young girls by priests is such a culture within those residential school girls that there are so many of these identical crucifixes with these lines of rape. So, while I think that this is a great short story and beautifully written, it's heartbreaking. So if you have triggers around sexual abuse, religious wrongdoings, this is not the short story for you. So thank you so much for joining me. If you are so inclined, please like and subscribe, and please comment in the description box below. And also, I have set up a Patreon account if you wanted to put a tip in the tip jar. So I hope that you stick around and join me for day 8, and I will leave you with some of my favorite things from the lake. See you soon.